Washington headquarters in Newburgh, New York headquarters is described as one of the best, if not the best, amongst the 35 historic sites belonging to New York State Office of Park, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. It was the first historic site that opened to the public on July 4th, 1850. The George Washington headquarters experienced historical, political, sociological, economic, and ethnological significance, played a huge crucial role in American Revolution. The fact that the land remains here today after 200 years serves as an acknowledgement to the impression it made in America's struggle for independence. Tensions between Congress and the English still remained. The crisis called for a strong leader, such as George Washington. Because of his ethics, George Washington, on March 15, 1783, stood before his officers of his army and prevented a mutiny that would have altered the course of American history. Washington had stopped the men who had agenda to use the army as leverage to strengthen the national government. This would have caused mistrust between the military and the citizens. The Newburgh Conspiracy was a group of radical army soldiers who wanted to be paid. If these soldiers did not get what they wanted, they threatened to revolt against Congress. In Newburgh, peace was made. However, that peace was made honored by the Badge of Merit, or later known as the Purple Heart. Washington dealt with sociological matters. He also made important economic decisions as well. The Royal Navy controlled the seas. Despite having signed the Articles of Confederation earlier in the year, largely bankrupt themselves. Congress had failed to pay back Washington's men and pensions for their service during the American Revolution. Washington cared about his men. The economic turmoil between Congress and his men prompted Washington to issue his own orders to Congress on March 11, 1783. In addition to this, Washington called a meeting with his officers to prevent the Newburgh Conspiracy from revolting against Congress. Washington delivered the Second Newburgh Address, presented at the site of his headquarters. This helped moderate economic distress among his men. Washington's words to his soldiers made them realize the shame of their actions. Full of guilt, they asked Washington to withdraw their threats to Congress. The Newburgh Address was described as one of the greatest tests of Commander-in-Chief's leadership. This was resolved in peaceful and respectfully. Because Washington urged his men to work with Congress instead of against them, he was able to pursue the government to grant reasonable requests for his men. Many of you may ask, why is this specific historic location so significant today? The Washington headquarters contains a library archive and museum collections. Within these collections contain significant letters, documents. Through historical, political, sociological, economic, and ethnological importance, it is clear how George Washington headquarters played an important role throughout the course of American Revolution.